All right, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about fairing because fairing and sanding, that is just what I have been doing constantly. I'm able to get back out here and get some time in. So you gotta work hard really to get this step right if you want your boat to look good. So here's a little bit of what I've got going on. All right, so here's some of the tools of the trade. I built this longboard, which is really helpful to get your hull very flat. As you can see, my hull is super flat. It's just out of a piece of long wood, and I put those dowels on there, and I've got some 40 grit sandpaper sticky back that I put on there. That thing is a workhorse. It is hard on your shoulders, but it really helps get those long, straight lines very flat and even. Next up is my Harbor Freight Palm Sander 6-inch. It's also a workhorse. The vacuum attachment is very important. It helps pick up all that dust. I really love this super cool Flexi Sander longboard. It is actually totally flexible and does will contour to the hull, as you can see here. You can press it down and it will totally shape to the hull. You kind of move this at an angle like this so you aren't wearing in one particular spot. The more you work this thing, the better you can really shape your hull to like a uniform, angle. And it works just really, really well. You do have to apply some force to get it down. But I'm telling you, it's a little expensive, but it's definitely worth the investment. I want to show you a little bit more about this Flexi Sander and how universal it is. It does flat, straight areas really, really well too. So it works here, but even, on this side, of the bow, just watch how it contours this angle. You just really can't beat that. It gives you a really nice smooth angle, which is perfect for fairing. It really helps you eliminate those bumps and lumps that you're naturally just going to get, by building a boat on a jig. So we're going to take it a step further with Flexi Sander, and this is the Mac Daddy. It is a pneumatically operated flexible sander that does also contour as well. This thing is really key. I've actually got kind of a bad left shoulder, and so I did buy this because that longboard was just killing me. Both longboards were killing me. And this thing is just awesome. It's got a vacuum attachment, picks up dust, contours really, really well, does these straight angles like the other one, and it's just really, really awesome. Next up is West Systems 404 high density adhesive filler. Mix that in with little Q cells and like really important areas like those trim tab pockets. That stuff is so dense and insanely strong. Another thing which is key is this little die grinder with that little titanium tip. You can really kind of get into tight angles like when grinding in here just to smooth it out. That's just a really nice, convenient air tool to have. Pretty cheap, Harbor Freight, and then you just can't beat this air blower just blowing off all of the dust that you're just going to be creating. It's just, obviously that's really important. Then obviously everybody needs a rubber mallet just to beat the hell out of your project when you get frustrated with it. It does come in handy. And these Amazon lights. I've kind of built a little paint booth shop set up inside my tent. Those are also super nice. You get light on everything and tons of mixing cups. I'm kind of all over the place here, but here's some fairing that I just did, tonight. And something awesome is these 6-inch body filler spreaders. I get them cheap off of Amazon. They're just so cheap. You can get like a pack of 50 or 100. These are flexible. You know, you can contour to the side of your hull really nicely. It really helps spread your fairing. I think that, you know, I use those things all the time. I actually use it here to, you know, create that nice sharp angle with my fairing, and, you know, built that up. It's going to have to be knocked down later with sanding, so it looks really bad right now, but once I go back and sand it, that will all be super flat. So here's, you know, my chine on my other side. That longboard is going to come in handy here just to flatten all of that out and have it on one, you know, even flat plane. So it should be just like totally flat with a hard, sharp edge. Speaking of angles, this is my starboard side. This is the spray rail on my starboard side. You can see this angle is like nicely rounded over. It's roughly like a, you know, maybe like a 1/4 inch or so, you know, radius on that. But at the water, under the water line, I have this really sharp angle. That's really going to help with the performance of the boat, help you in your turns, and help you, you know, grab that water. You know, that's just really important. So that's a key differentiator between those two angles and, you know, their sharpness. You know, the spray rail, I have it rounded over, so it's a little bit, you know, not as sharp. And, you know, that'll be nice at the beach if you hit it or something. So, and here's just another look at my port side. It's kind of backwards because the boat's upside down, but you know, you can just kind of see how I'm developing those angles on this side. I'm trying to match the other side, you know, as best as possible. Another thing worth mentioning here is that I am sharpening, you know, these angles up, especially below the waterline, with the fairing, using my Q cells, but also the West Systems 404, that high density filler, you know, so it's going to be very, very, very durable. And even here in the trim tab pockets, I'm going to be filling this in. I've been grinding this out, all those little voids. You know, just using some 40 grit sandpaper, kind of getting into there. And I'm using the West Systems 404 filler here too, because this is a very important area that needs to be strong. Here you can see I've started filling that in. Just going to be several rounds of filling. And here's what the trim tab pocket looks like pre-filler. You can see that I've got, you know, some glass in here, but I've been doing a lot of sanding and trying to shape it to the trim tab. You know, from there, I'm going to take all of that filler and then lay it in thick. And then I'm actually going to take my trim tab and wax it up really, really good with some release wax. And then I'm going to lay it down in there and form that full shape. I'll show you here, you know, here in a second, you know, what I'm talking about. So here I've filled that whole area with filler, and I've waxed my trim tab, and now I have that trim tab just sitting in place. You can see it's actually below the edge of the hull, so don't have to worry about hitting it on anything. I'm weighing it down with a thing of acetone, and you know, this is you know, my best way of doing it. So here's another little, you know, shot of the back end of my starboard side. You know, it really is coming towards the end, so I'm going to show you a little bit of this moat too, or the flange that I call it the moat because it's just kind of a catch-all down there, but it is the flange that I ended up filling up with epoxy, but it just looks so good. You know, filled that up with epoxy, and it's just really, really nice and even. Well, guys, please like and subscribe, you know, share, comment. If you'd like to see anything else, just, you know, let me know, and I'll just kind of keep going. Cheers.